Hello everyone, thank you for joining me once again. I hope you're all having an amazing week, and I am also having an amazing week because I am working on some fantastic cars this week, including this LS400, which I nearly didn't get in the workshop because it is so wide. It's got so much camber, it just nearly didn't fit. I had to proper struggle to get it in, and now I've got to get it on the ramp. So I'll show you what I'm talking about, but this thing is wild. If you look here, this thing is going to be awkward to get on the ramp because it's got big kit on it, and that is as high as it does air up. But this thing is massive. It's wide, it's cool, and the reason it's in here is we're putting a bunch of more adjustable arms on and adding more camber. I got to go get trapped, so I'm going to put this on the ramp, and I think it's going to take me about half an hour to do so. I've got to try and get it on the ramp without destroying the side skirts, because obviously those are really expensive side skirts. Everything is really expensive. Car is on the ramp. It nearly doesn't fit inside the workshop. That is a big car. Anyway, what we're fitting today is this, a selection of control arms in the back. Now these are T-demand control arms, which are, these are beautiful. These are actually really nice. They're really strong. They're really heavy. And if you know anything about, well, this sort of chassis, these are the ones you want. These are so good. Fully adjustable. Look at them. This is just gorgeous. So we got front lowers. These are the track control arms, I think. And then we got extended track rod ends. So these arms are literally the best quality arms I've ever seen in my entire life. I am shocked. They're a lot of money, but I see why. These are so nice. Amazing. So, obviously, the car is now on the ramp. I'm going to talk about the car a bit quickly before we start. So, it's obviously bagged. It has whatever those Prazis bags. 09 uppers, T-demand, like top mount, camber adjustable top mounts, but they're not camber adjustable. They're literally just to put the bag further in so you can add more camber to the car basically without rubbing the bag on here. So we've also got a set of chopped and angled spindles, and we have these roll center adjusters just here. And obviously we're putting this low control arm here, and then this track control arm here. And we're going to be adding a little bit more camber on the rear just because we want to put some bigger wheels on it. And this car has a full serial 9 rear end. So we got this low control arm, track control arm, tie rod, and the upper control arm as well, all fully adjustable. So I'm going to get these on here now and start setting them up. Of course, take it all to bits. Get some grease on there, lube all the threads, put it all back together, because these are expensive arms, and in the UK, we salt the roads a lot. So this is probably not going to be driven in the salt, but it's also wet. So, you know, you don't want all of these threads and stuff getting all mashed up because you haven't greased it, and it doesn't take too long. So lube every single part of these threads. Look at the thread engagement on the lower control arm. You can extend these like 400 miles, I swear. Right, arms are greased up. I'm going to give you a couple of tips on putting control arms like this on a car which doesn't already have the adjustable arms on. So you need a baseline to start with. So what you want to do is you want to bottom out all of the adjusters on the control arms, so it basically bottoms out like that. And then on this in particular arm, this center nut spins this collar here and this collar here in opposite directions. So when it's in the car, you can literally just turn this one here and it will extend this one and it will extend this one evenly, and that way you get an even spread. This is going to be hard to do on camera, but you get an even adjustment, and that will extend this inner sleeve here, which is this one, and then it's going to extend this outer tie rod as well at the same time. And then these nuts here are actually just lock offs. So this bolt here, turn that, Once it's all set, you lock that off to that one, and then you also lock this one up against this one as well. And as a baseline, you want to get them pretty much exactly the same as what the original ones are. So these ones, you want to basically sort of mock them up like that. Get them sort of the same sort of length. And take this one off, put it on the bench, and then obviously double check your length. And then that way you have a baseline to start from, and then it'll be easy to adjust from there because you don't get lost on adjusting one side, doing that, blah, blah, blah. It's all off now, so this is what I mean when I say make them like the same length as the original. So you line your bush up at the end there, come to the end, got your holes lined up back here, and then you've got a similar baseline to start with. Same again as this one, line them up here, same again up there. Now these ones are going to be extending quite a bit, so pretty much bottomed out is stock. Let's get these on. Cool, that is sick. These are some nice pieces. I really, really like them. So that's one side done. Obviously, I need to do the other side. So let me do that, and we'll try and adjust it evenly. Basically, if I start adjusting this, I then have to start adjusting this, and then I have to start adjusting. It's all a big adjustment game at this point, but the plan is to get more camber, so that is what we're doing. We can adjust this lower control arm out very far, and because we have the adjustment on this side, and we also have the adjustment on this side, we can literally go out as much as we really want, because this engagement goes all the way up to like here, so we've got loads of thread to play with. It comes a point where it becomes too much, but we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do. Also, while I'm here, adjustable arms, heim joints, let's talk about them. So, you get your heim joint here, so this is your heim joint, and you know, a bolt obviously goes through that, and that flexes around itself. Now, on this side, it's just got a bracket, so it can't go anywhere. But when you get arms like this, you want this heim joint and this heim joint to be parallel with each other, because if this one's locked off full 90 degrees and this one's locked off the other way around, these don't have a single way to articulate. So these have to be in line with each other, and they have to be bang on. So whoever fitted these before, I know it wasn't the owner, it was someone else that did it for him. They got one side right here, and then on this side, they just didn't. So you see this is locked off here, that's locked off there. That is absolutely fully bottomed out. So that's going to try and kill the heim joint here. It wears the heim joint massively quickly and just damages it basically, and when they're not aligned. So, you know, make sure you do that and don't do this. And also, learn how to read. The geezer who've done this before. Left, right. Says it underneath it, right? Now that's all good, but when you fitted the front arms, you forgot to read, because this one says left, and this one says right. Idiots, man. Anyway, must carry on. Right, okay, all the lower control arms are on, both sides, everything's all fitted up, everything adjustment-wise is still loose. If you look here, this wheel is kind of pointing straight, right? And if you go to this one, look, it's literally turning full lock to the right. So I'm going to show you the best way to sort of like eyeball your tracking. And this is exactly where you want to start. So you need to center your rack. Center in your rack means basically if the wheels were pointing straight, you'd be in the middle of your rack. So at the minute, if we just adjust that driver's side straight, we'd have an uneven adjustment. So you want to adjust your track rods evenly, but you don't know where you are because obviously the steering is obviously not completely straight. So to set your rack, you want to go all the way to the left. And when you've got it full locked to the left, you want to go all the way to the right and count how many turns you got. So if we start here, obviously the wheel's upside down. So we got 1, 2, 3, so 3. And that way you need to know that you need to go back 1.5 turns, and then you're in the middle of the rack. So half, and then 1. And now the rack is centered. So when you go back to your track rod ends, you want to eyeball align it. You need to basically adjust them evenly until the wheels go straight, and then that way your wheels will be pretty much in the ballpark for your tracking guy and for your test drive down the road. Basically, you don't want to adjust one side too much and then that one a little bit. So do them evenly and just get them just to straighten up and get as close as you can. When you've got a lot of camber like this, it's so hard to see how much toe and stuff you got. That's why alignment on big camber cars is like really necessary, because the camber and bad toe just throw your tracking all the way out. But that's where to start. Adjust your track rod ends, get it straight, and then we can move on to extending the lower control arm a little bit more, and then extending the tie rods a little bit more, etc, etc. So this is how you start it. Now, the reason I always start with that is because some people tend to take the steering wheels off, put them round the tooth and put it back on, so the car appears to be driving straight, but the tracking is always off. So if you've got a standard car and a standard wheel, there's no reason why you should ever take the steering wheel off and turn it. If you've got an aftermarket wheel, then obviously you might have to turn it because you might have put it on pissed. But always keep this straight, never turn the steering wheel, it's always in the tracking. It's good to obviously set your rack manually like that, because you might, turn it straight and think, oh yeah, it's straight, but you might have a couple of teeth out on the steering wheel, and that way, once you get it tracked, the steering wheel will be out and you'll have to move it back, or you'll have more lock one way than the other, and that's not ideal. You want it to be even and right in the middle. So little tip for you. And now you can clearly see toeing out, and you can literally just go on here, count your turns, and then basically do this evenly both sides, and you get the wheels straight. I'll start with that, like getting the wheels straight, and then I'll adjust this one right here to make that lower control arm a little bit more, so we can put a little bit more camber on it. And then from there, we'll then obviously adjust this bit as well. This bit, we don't have to adjust too much, but obviously if you're pulling this point out, you're gonna have to adjust this point as well, because otherwise the wheel is gonna go frontwards into the front of the arch. So adjust it all evenly, get it as close as you can, and take it to your alignment guy. So yeah, I'm gonna have a play with this, see how much I can get it to camber out, because that's what I've been told to do. And I'll join you once I've done that. Right, wheel is on. We could probably add a little bit more camber in, but I thought I'd just show you this at the point now. I said that this one here pushes the wheel back into the arch. If we stand back, you can see that the wheel's really, forwards towards the bumper area. So if we extend that front control arm, track control arm, that'll push the wheel back into position, and it should be all gravy. So before and after. So as you can see, wheel is back in the arch there. Everything is adjusted. I think tracking wise, it's so hard to see. It's so hard to see when it's got lots of camber how the tracking is looking. It's going to be out. The smallest bit of toe on a big camber car like this makes the car just drive awful. It's not going to drive nice anyway, because you're going to have like pretty much all of your contact patch on the sidewall. And this is what happens when your tracking's out. These tyres have done less than 500 miles, so yeah, these are getting flipped. So we'll put this side on the inside. You can see, look, no, this tyre has been on the road. To my regular viewers, you probably think this is ridiculous. This is very extreme, and it is very extreme, but I like it. I actually think on a big car like this, it does work. And if you was doing this to like a Fiesta or something, it would just look stupid. But these cars pull it off so well. So I'm gonna air it out now, as in jack the wheel up, and show you where it now sits, because I think it's gonna be extremely tight. I've just trimmed the arch lip all the way around, so we've got like as much clearance as we possibly can. Apparently, if you roll the arches on an LS400, they don't like it. So let's check it out and see what it looks like. Oh, wow. Stance car. And you see that there? Can you see that? front and rear nearly matches. That is the golden rule. Your front camber and rear camber has to match if you're building a stance car, and that will match. Obviously that's still aired up, so when it airs out it should match the same as this, but we can adjust it if not. Yeah, that's mad. That is proper mad. That is properly tight. But I think it works. I don't think it's going to go any lower than what it is now because the bag's pretty much bottomed out. As long as, you know, both wheels do the same thing at the same time. When you air out, usually your toe gets all messed up. But if it's tracked properly, it should do the same both sides. Right, new week. Back on with this. I've just spent the morning getting all the front situated, getting it off the ramp, getting it ready to go get it tracked and whatnot. I'm not going to be able to get it tracked today, but I just wanted to get this car back on the floor, see how it sits, and drive it outside for the first time. Obviously, my next task is to get this car out of the workshop. Obviously, the wheel pokes out considerably, and I had to go in at an angle like this, and obviously get really close to this ramp arm, just to get the right angle in it. Well, it turns out that obviously our wheels are now poking out much further than it already is. But getting it out of the workshop might be proving a little bit difficult, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. I'll do a little video clip of what it actually sounds like on startup. It sounds so good. Bonus clip, I will be getting this on the ramp today to start bagging it. That looks absolutely incredible. Look at this. That looks like something straight out of Japan. I don't think I've ever seen anyone go to this extent and this sort of stance in the UK on a big body car at all. That looks wild. And even with that amount of camber, it doesn't look like excessive amount because it's such a big car. It looks insane. I can't wait to see this driving down the road, and I think the geezer that owns it is going to be so happy. Mental. All those orange arms on the front actually accumulated to £4,000, so this is an expensive game. And obviously you see those front, you see the rear lights? Mental. There's loads of different settings for that. They're all like inside the boot, but that's wild. This car is so cool. You can even get a bigger wheel on the back now. Like, absolutely a bigger wheel on the back. Mental. So good. Completely different cars here. So that is your drive height. I've just set a preset. Now all that's left to do now is to get a new set of tyres on it because they're pretty dead, and from there go and get the car tracked and then drive it a little bit more. I think it's pretty decent at this height. This is rolling drive height, so this is what you take your car, you get it tracked, leave it at this height, and then obviously you just air out for shows, but you air back up to this preset, and then you basically want to just obviously keep the car tracked at this height at high pressure settings like this is. So there's like 150 in the front and there's 80 in the back, which is not a lot. It can be hard to hit a lot of presets. Basically you kind of want a lot of pressure on this sort of height because it's still quite close to the arch, and obviously, as you know how tight that front fitment is, it's good to have a lot of air pressure in there just to make sure it doesn't like rub on the arches on big bumps. 150 psi sounds like a lot of pressure, but you got to remember that this car is really heavy. It's got a massive engine in the front, and the bag is all the way in, so the leverage point of the bag to the wheel is a lot greater. So Mercedes, Hondas, Lexuses all have a higher pressure than like your standard Mark IV Golf pressurized. So when you're driving it, yeah, it's going to be a bit firm, but it's not going to be horrible to drive. It's actually probably going to drive pretty decent comfort-wise after it's all been tracked and stuff. Camber-wise as well, once it's tracked properly, it should drive fairly simple, like a normal car. Like obviously, you're going to have like this much tire on the road, but you know, it's not going to be throwing you left and right because the tracking will be bang on. If the tracking's good, it's going to drive pretty normally. I haven't driven a car with this much camber front and rear before. I've had that camber on the rear before. I'm interested to see what this actually handles like after it's all tracked and stuff. People that are watching this is going to probably divide a lot of opinions, but you know, it looks really cool. I'm super happy with it, and yeah, I'm going to probably end the video here. Obviously, I got to get that RX-7 FD on the ramp this week to start bagging it, and my 2-post ramp turns up today in the afternoon, so I'm going to get that up in the week. So I'll do a bit of filming on that, a bit of filming on the 2-post ramp, and just general chit chat as well. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think about this. I know a lot of people that watch this have no interest in camber cars, but you keep coming back because you like this channel, so I appreciate every single one of you. But yeah, thank you. See you later. Goodbye.